Yo, what's up everybody? Dr. D. Today I want to hit a really cool topic, belief. Hopefully in your New Year's, you always establish a New Year's resolution. You always see goals of things that you want to do. I know some people that don't do it. I know some other people like, Doc, I do this all the day. I have my vision board and so forth. Whatever you do, at whatever moment it may be, doesn't have to be in the beginning of New Year or whatever, but when you believe in something, right? So let's not get caught up when you do that vision board or you set your goals, but it is important to write them down. It is important to see them. And as it relates to your health, the greatest gift that's been given to you by God, that's something you need to care for and optimize it, right? I was just speaking to somebody not too long ago, earlier today, and they were telling me, it's a pretty well-known person, and they were telling me, look, I'm gonna hit 50 years old. I have a brand and I have an image that I need to take care of. And I think that's beautiful, man, beautiful. So today we're gonna talk about certain things that happen to you as it relates to your biology, to your chemistry, to the physics, and to the world of quantum when you believe in something. And also what can happen to you when you believe in something negative, because he who says he can and he who says he can't, they are both right. It just depends on the perspective you're gonna take. And don't forget, your brain doesn't run on reality. Your brain runs on the perspective of your reality, on what it's seeing and what it's understanding, you know. And there's a colleague of mine in the field, Dr. Bruce Lipton. I think his work is phenomenal. If you've never heard of him, go check him out. And he has a title for I believe it's a book or a segment of videos. I don't remember exactly, but it's called The Biology of Belief. And I'm not going to take his name because that term, because I think it's already awesome. But the biology of your chemistry, the biology of believing in something, the biology of faith is something that is real. So let's get into it. An idea that I want you guys to understand today, that everything you see around you, that you interpret with your five senses, okay? Taste, vision, smell, hearing, and touch. There's a lot more than it comes to these five senses, right? And the colors that you're seeing, for example, all the colors that you see, they're in a certain frequency. So everything, the color that you're seeing, you know, it stays inside a spectrum of colors, but there's a whole frequency of colors, of sound, etc., around us all the time. But lots of these things are intangible, right? And there's a specific science called the science of cymatics, C-Y-M-A-T-I-C-S. And that is the study of vibration. And all of us were vibrating, and we have a certain resonance and frequency within us that's connected to the earth. You ever hear about grounding? You know, stepping barefoot on the earth, going into deep nature. If you go inside a deep forest, I'm talking about deep Amazonian type jungle, forest, whatever, or the quietness of a desert. I don't know if you guys ever done like wilderness camping and so forth. I have, like no tent, nothing, and you're just sitting there looking at the stars, looking at the sky, and feeling the presence of what? Earth, the presence of God, the presence of just something else. So that, and this is, oh, he's getting spiritual. I'm not getting spiritual. This is quantum. The field of quantum studies different things like string and so forth, but vibration and acoustics is very important. So all of us have a certain vibration, okay? And what's interesting is your DNA is vibrating as well, okay? As your DNA is vibrating, there's things that can be promoting your DNA to repair itself, or there can be things that are damaging your DNA. And you're like what? Well, I'll give you an example. Here's the thing. Your body, when you say to somebody, hey, you're beautiful, that is very beneficial for the person, right? When you tell something positive, when you say something positive to the person will be like, oh my God, they said I'm beautiful and so forth. And that builds the person up, right? And their frequency goes into a frequency of love. DNA understands two frequencies, pretty much. Frequency of love and the frequency of fear. So the frequency of love is one of high vibration, okay? High vibrations, very high, high vibration, low amplitude, high frequency, okay? The frequency of fear is a low frequency, low vibratory state. You probably ever heard that before, and high amplitude. So it's like whoa, 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 whoa. Versus love is like boo, really high frequency. Now, when somebody tells you something, oh my God, you're beautiful, or even I like your shirt, you could take that and it's like, and that message is sent to somebody in a way, for the most part, in a way, an intention to do good. But the receiver can take that message and say, they said I'm beautiful because they're just trying to impress their friend. In truth, she always does that to me. She always says I'm beautiful, but I know that's not true. What do you think just happened to you? What do you think now your DNA interpret that? Your whole body, you're being interpreted. It interpreted as a frequency of fear. She might have told you you were beautiful truthfully, or she might have told you were beautiful being facetious or something like that, right? But it's up to you to control how you're going to interpret things. And somebody could be like, I hate you. And you could be like, you know what? Bless this person. You know why? Because they might have gone through this, or they've gone through that, or I heard this person went through this or this, or I know this person went through this, and this is how they react to these situations because they have so much negative it's stored inside of them that they don't know how to react in a different way in these kind of situations, and they project this. Whatever way you're going to put it, you could take that insult and throw it back into your body to make it something positive. Do you see how powerful this is? And if you've never heard of this, this is something to live by. This is something to understand. All of us around us, we're all vibration and frequency. Now, there's a famous doctor. His name is Dr. Masaru Emoto. Okay. Now he does the experiment of how when you speak to water, water turns into these beautiful geometric shapes. That, I mean, just amazing. Like, and you can pause this video right now and just go on YouTube or Google, put Dr. Masaru Emoto, and we have it here on the screen so you guys can see. And then put on YouTube and see what this guy's done. Like he's been able to show the world how when you speak to water, the water will take these beautiful shapes when you speak to it positively, but when you speak to it negatively, it takes also these other shapes and forms that make no sense, right? And those are destructive shapes. Those are aberrations in nature, cancers, if you will, for example. Our body is about 70% water. Now think about that for a second. If water, free-form water, changes depending on how changes its shape, depending on how you're talking to it, what do you think happens to your body? What do you think happens when you take a negative emotion inside you? So emotions, which we're not we're not taught in society very well to manage our emotions, but when your emotions are the conduits, are the vehicles that take this information to your cells, and then your cells will then express literally in their anatomy the emotion you gave it. So it's really important when you're communicating with somebody, that emotion is a frequency. You ever see somebody come into a room and you say, something about that person, I don't like their vibe. You ever heard somebody say that? Well, that's true. You're emitting a frequency, right? So, and you have your 6 centers in your body which emit frequencies. I mean, you could take a voltmeter and put it close to the person's heart, and you will see that voltmeter increase in frequency. So the information I'm giving you today is not information that's not out there. It's not known. It's just not mainstream. It's actually very, very not mainstream. So, and let's go a little deeper, because remember those crystals we were just talking about in Dr. Masaru Emoto's experiments with the water? So I want you guys to see, while I'm speaking, you'll see that there's a sandboard with a project of cymatics. And as the frequency is increasing, you can see that there's a change in the geometric shapes of the sand on this frequency board. This is just pure sand, and it's changing its vibrational, its anatomy according to the vibrational pattern it's receiving. And you see, as the frequency is getting higher and higher, the geometry gets prettier and prettier and more complex. See how crazy that is? That's in nature, that's around you. There's an embedded engineering in the architecture of this matrix we live in that responds to that. Now, here's the thing. Pause that. If you're to pause that shape corresponds to a sound. So a shape that corresponds to a sound, what does that do? Well, that's a letter. A letter? What do you mean letter? Yeah, if I show you the letter A, right? And what sound does that have? Ah, or A, right? So if I show you the letter B, it has the sound of B, right? Now, if I have a letter, or if I have multiple letters, what do I have then? I have an alphabet. If I have an alphabet, I have a language. How interesting is that? So wait, are you telling me there's an alphabet in nature? I guess so. Nobody taught me this, but this is me in my deep studies. And this is me just hardcore, 2 in the morning, reading and trying to understand the universe and God and what he's created. Because the artist is the same one that made that thing you see when you go in front of the mirror, that made you. So that sacred geometry, okay? And yeah, I said that word. For those of you guys that like sacred geometry, I'm definitely going there. So that sacred geometry exists in nature. And that, my friends, is how we're built. You are the golden ratio. You are pi. You are a constellation of beautiful geometrical and mathematical formulations that cannot be broken. And you break these things when you break this beautiful geometry when you introduce things into your body that shouldn't be there. When you introduce chemical agents, when you introduce physical triggers of immune response, things that we talk about in our other lectures, and will continue to do so, hopefully for years and years and years to come. Because that's something we believe in. Because this sacred geometry will get interrupted when you're not eating sacred foods. When you're not eating things that build up your body. When you're not, maybe now, not only eating, but let's change it to the word consuming. Consuming songs, consuming thoughts, consuming emotions that you can take control of, that change your perspective. When you're not consuming emotions that are conducive to the perspective you want to have in life. Remember, I'll say it again, your brain doesn't run on reality. Your brain runs on your perception of reality. When you pray, when you meditate, when you put your mind on the higher things, when you put your mind on believing, on having faith, right? What does the Bible say? Faith is the evidence of the things not seen, and is the evidence of the things not seen and the substance of the things hoped for. Hebrews 11:1, right? So when that happens to you, when you can understand what faith is, faith and the expression and the manifestation of what you believe in, when you say amen, and when you say amen, it means it's so it is. When you say amen, when you have that faith and when you know that's coming, right? Even though, look, it could be a sunny day and somebody tells you, you have faith it's going to rain, take an umbrella. You're like, I'm not going to take no umbrella. It's a sunny day. No, having faith and saying amen is on the sunniest day you've ever seen, leave with the darn umbrella because you know what's going to happen. When you do that, your biology, your chemistry, your physics, your quantum starts to change. So yes, your body, you're made of a constellation of smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller parts. And here's the thing, I promise you, in medical school, I remember thinking about this, right? Because we only solve our problems at the almost surgical level and pharmaceutical level. But how about other levels? How about the levels of belief? Oh, belief isn't real. Yeah, you ever heard of placebo? Placebo is a real thing. Placebo and nocebo. Placebo is believing that something's happened. Nocebo is the opposite of that, believing something has not happened, right? And I mean, there's multiple times where that's the standard. A lot of our research today is the standard is you compare the treatment model with the placebo model to see if it works. I mean, it's embedded in all of mainstream medicine. It's called placebo. You know what that translates to? Belief, the ability to believe in something, and still there's influence in that. There's times that the placebo effect looks like as if the person has received treatment. But here's the thing, when you're looking at the human body and the human experience, so, and what I was telling you guys, I've learned in medical school, you start learning about protons, neutrons, electrons, that which then make up the atoms, which then make up the molecules, which then make up the cells, which then make up the tissues, which then make up the organs, which then makes up the human. And if there's a problem at any of those levels, well, you put some pharmaceutical agents, which for the most part are going to affect your biochemistry, or you just cut and slice and stitch and so forth at the anatomical level. And I'm not saying that these things don't have their place, but when you're looking at root cause, I was like, how many more levels deeper can we go? There are more than 200 subatomic particles documented. That means anything in an atom is subatomic, smaller. The neutrons, protons, electrons, and then it starts to go smaller, all the way to the smallest known particle to man, as far as I know, because this thing's always getting more and more information being added, but the quark. And inside quarks, you have the theory of string theories, right? And the theory of inside the quarks, one there's two strings, one vibrating at the speed of sound, the other one vibrating at the speed of light. And if you could get these strings to they're overlapping themselves because they're at different speeds, but if you could get them to vibrate in unison, that's technically when you can transverse dimensions. I definitely don't want to get into any deeper than that today, but I know. And if this is the first time you guys are watching one of my lectures, cool. But if you've been seeing my lectures before and now you're listening to this one, it's like, what happened to Dr. D? Did he go off the deep end? No. This is the essence. This is raw Dr. D. This is really what I believe in, and stay up studying and so forth, because medicine should not just be halted at a cellular level. To me, it goes all the way to the quantum level. That's where the quantum medicine takes place. Okay, so no, I didn't go off the deep end today. This is truly me. I probably won't talk too much about this, moving forward, but I definitely wanted to leave a lecture recorded so you guys understood my thought process and the thought process that I try to imbue into our company, right? As we're taking care of people that come to Biohax, it's very important to us that people understand that there's a signal that we have to emit and be in the same symphony of emotions, and really connect with our patients and the people that are coming to us for help, beyond chemical help, beyond help with their anatomy, but it's help that we're looking to give at multiple levels. Okay, and once you understand this science, and I for one was a person that had to understand science to understand spirituality, and to really be convinced that there's something bigger out there. There's something that's designed and continues to design the universe we live in. And I know for some of us that have never spoken of this stuff, this all might sound very strange, but this is the world of physics coming together with the world of biology. And ultimately, the human that you're getting in front of you, the human that you're expressing, according also to the laws of epigenetics, which is you basically expressing the genes that you want according to your lifestyle. When you put all this together, that's the rules, and that's the playbook by which to get a human that is successful in his human experience, that is successful in avoiding disease, that is successful in living a happy and a fulfilled life, that is successful in ultimately attracting abundance and not a life of scarcity. So your thoughts will translate to emotions, which then further translate to vibrations, and you will truly attract or repel depending on what you have programmed your quantum field to be resonating at. I know, pretty crazy. And I know for those of you that this is new to you, this might not even make any sense. And to others, it's like, yes, this makes a lot of sense. And these are the rules by which I live my life. And here's the thing. When you understand that nature and you are one, that the earth and ourselves are one. That's why we have to take better care of the earth. That's why we have to take care of the foods that we're eating, because they also have a frequency. Even the water that you're drinking has a frequency, as I showed you guys before. You don't think that's influencing you? You don't think that's influencing the output that you're putting out there, your actual physical makeup, the quality of your hair, the quality of your cells, and so on and so forth? Of course that is. Of course that is. And the best thing that you can do is control your mind, thoughts, and emotions. And with that, when you live in a place where you're taking constant surveillance and programming yourself to where you want to be, to where you want to live your life, okay? Even a home you want to have, a person you want to be with, a child you want to have, etc. You have to truly deeply believe inside of it and start to see it, and you will ultimately resonate to that frequency, to that thought, because every thought has a frequency. Every thought has a vibrational pattern. And like I told you guys in the beginning, you can choose to either vibrate in a frequency of love or a frequency of fear. The frequency of love not only regenerates you, not only reconstructs you, and helps to reconstruct your DNA, your cellular makeup at the level of the water that these cells are made up from, or it can serve to hurt you and destroy you. But the thing is, here's the coolest part. It not only works for you, but it works for the people around you. So when you want to influence your family, your loved ones in a particular way, even if you live in a toxic environment, independent of your environment, your circumstances in life, don't matter if you're in jail, it don't matter where you are, brother or sister, your belief, your faith that things will work out and will work out for the best is crucial and imperative. And I hope today, for some of you guys, like me, I once had difficulties in believing things that I couldn't really understand, that weren't tangible. I'm not saying I hope your life's fully changed. No, I hope I cracked open the door that made you curious for you to go study and understand this beautiful side of our existence. Sure, you have a body, you have a brain, you have a mind, but you have a spirit, and you have emotions that are connected with it, and they're all vibrating according to what patterns you're feeding it. So understand this area. It's a beautiful area. We can sit here and talk forever about it, but today I just want to encourage you guys that there's truth, there's science to your beliefs. So when you say amen, may it be a true amen. May it be as so it is. And for us starting this new year, amen. That's all I gotta say. Love you all. Dr. D.